you're not the business owner, if you have a boss, it's kind of like, why are you playing on Facebook all day?
Playing, right?
Yeah, that's always how it comes back to me. Is why are you playing on Facebook all day? But when you go through and look at a traffic source and you say, look, it's Google's number 1, but Facebook's number 2. Oh, you know, a third of our traffic every month is generated from, you know, Twitter's number 5. Oh, okay, now I'm starting to get where it's going. So I think that's a great suggestion because if you can see that, that's also sometimes justification back about what the effectiveness is. And it's amazing to me how many people don't use those tools out there, but they're really easy to install. There's a ton of YouTube how-to videos. Even Google puts them in their own blogs in their how-to section. So if you're not tech savvy, it's really easy to do. But those are 2 great tools, and there's a lot of freemium tools out there, as Jess is alluding to. But get those things in. That piece of information is a really powerful thing.
And going down the metrics road, I thought we'd go down a little bit. So, for example, I used to coach track, and I had a lot of fun doing that. And I got the opportunity to be an assistant coach underneath a guy that used to be the head coach at WSU when I was in Pullman. And a great part about that was that I got to learn from a guy that really knew how to plan a year out. And so all my seasons I used to plan 4 months backwards and say, what was my goal? Where do I want to get everybody? Well, that was back in 1998. So since then, everything I do it like that. And same thing with social media at the same time. It's like, however, in track, we have races every week, and you can measure that pretty obviously. In social media, it's a little bit different. Tough to measure that the same way unless you really kind of get an idea of how it's going. So, I mean, if you could just share a couple quick tips on what you would say, going down even more specific, weekly or daily or anything like that.
Well, I think the first thing is don't get caught up in the numbers. Like as far as the numbers for numbers' sake, how many fans do I have, how many followers do I have, that kind of stuff. We talk about a community as being build it over a period of time, 60 to 90 days, and then use an activation mechanism to find out how active your community is. An active community is way more beneficial than 1 million people on your Facebook page. Personally, I'd rather have 1,000 people that are super active and being able to activate around my brand, because what that does is that has the organic spread, if you will, where all of a sudden now I see it at Bobby's feed, I'm like, oh, Bobby's attached to it, I want to check it out. And you can move around in those areas. So really look at active users. Facebook just introduced the thing of people talking about you, which is a really interesting metric. And they've actually made it very transparent. Unlike Google, who's like, my algorithm is... They've actually spelled it out for you and made it very easy for you to understand. Twitter also, there's a ton of great free tools out there that can give you different metrics about things. But I would look at how you're publishing content that people are reusing or repurposing. That's really, really, really beneficial at the end of the day. If you're doing a blog, how many people are actually commenting on it? How are you creating a conversation from your blog? It's not just standing in my soapbox and yell at you, and I hope you like what I'm saying. Really build a conversation and dialogue around that, and that's really more beneficial long term, because that's going to go ahead and create that viral or that organic spread that you're looking for, and that's going to keep you top of mind. And that way, the next time I'm looking for a copy distributor, you guys are the first guys I think of, because you're top of mind, because I've interacted with your blog, or I've seen what you guys are doing, and that's really, really important at the end of the day. So looking at active users and how they participate with you as a percentage of the whole is really kind of a number that I think is really, really important at the end of the day. And then, as Jess alluded to, how many people have been taking that call to action, and are they coming to your website? Are they bringing in your ticket to an event because you bought the ticket and you're showing up here? Are they coming in and they're redeeming something in the store? Are they checking in on your Foursquare account? I mean, all those different metrics of how many people are really talking about you and interacting with you, because that's what's going to create brand loyalty long term.
Exactly.
I would just add, he's pretty much said it all. But, just to reiterate, 5 really, really meaningful relationships that you've built online, which takes time. You will see over time that they can account for whether it's website traffic or actual sales or converting up, bringing new customers into your mix is so much more valuable than 5,000 inactive people who you've tweeted or talked to on Facebook maybe once. So, and for a small business owner, getting caught up in the numbers and actually for anyone in business, for big brands or for the small business owner, I think what holds a lot of businesses back is they are trying to tie their social media metrics to traditional, a mindset of traditional metrics. So how does this tie back to my ROI is a common question that we have. And, you can tie it back to ROI, but you have to look at it differently. There's a fair amount of conversation going on, but, building or capturing market share over time, that's going to take years or months to build. And building influencer relationships, that takes a lot of time to build versus getting from 0 to 5,000 followers in a matter of 2 months, but then nothing has happened aside from that. It can be hard for business owners to kind of look outside of the box, but with social media, there are just different things that you have to think about. And I think a lot of times they're taken for soft metrics. How am I going to measure relationships? We can't answer that question for you a lot of times, but there are tons of examples of brands who have seriously been able to turn around their perception, and built new products and built market share over time because of their activity